Good evening. My name is Angela Smith. I was born in Jamaica, raised in Jamaica. And the question is whether or not I experienced racism in Jamaica. And I can emphatically state I did not. In Jamaica, we may have some form of prejudices based on affluence, who has more money than who. But it never stopped us from coexisting together. We went to church together, we played together, went to the same schools together, we ate together, and so we never had a problem of color, not in Jamaica, you see. And so I can tell you that if I experienced racism there, I was not aware of it. Families come together when there's a problem. It doesn't matter what color they were. If a parent lost a child, a lot of parents came and they would want to help to make sure that child survives what is happening to her, losing a parent. And so, I went through that system in my young days without having lived to not feel proud of my blackness. And I sure did. And so years later, not really years later, my young 20s or high teenagers, when I came to America, I went to college. And I went to a predominantly black school. I went to a predominantly white school for graduate work. And I had no issue. And maybe because I came from a place where I didn't see it or I didn't feel it. And so if it was there in my academic life, I didn't feel it. However, when I started in the labor force, that's when I realized that there was something called systematic racism. Regardless of how talented you were, how smart you were, how academically accomplished you were, there was no place for any high positions in the workplace just because you were black. Yes? You couldn't make a certain amount of money because some people were going to try to make sure you don't. So it was always a fight. You had to fight and fight and fight for your very existence, And so the question is whether or not I experienced racism in America. I sure did. But not once I got here. It took a little while for me to see what goes on in the system and experienced it. You see? I remember once I went to a store. And just being in the store, a white lady was behind me. And she jumped in front of me. And I told the cashier, no, I was before her, so I have to be served first. And no, they taught us in Jamaica to be respectful to our elders. Once she went to another cashier. And once she was done, she was behind me, so I opened the door so that lady could get out through the door as an elderly. And she told me in front of my son, that's why I like you niggers. And my son's eyes were wide open. And I had to explain to him, that's what she probably was used to. So, just leave it alone. And so, yes, I can state that I experienced racism here, and more than one occasion, but I learned to live with it and do what I must. And that's why I entered conflict resolution, where I know when to hold and when to fold, so I can live the gift of life that God has given to me so I can exist on earth. Thank you very much, and I hope I've given you enough information. If you need to get in touch with me, then you know how to reach me. You have my face now, and you have what I have opined on. And racism in Jamaica never existed for me. In America, it did. Thank you very much.